Act 3 of Henry VI, Part 3 by William Shakespeare. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Act 3, Scene 1. A forest in the north of England. Enter two keepers with crossbows in their hands.
Under this thick-grown brake we'll shroud ourselves, for through the lawn anon the deer will come, and in this covert will we make our stand, culling the principal of all the deer.
I'll stay above the hill, so both may shoot.
That cannot be. The noise of thy crossbow will scare the herd, and so my shoot is lost. Here stand we both, and aim we at the best. And, for the time shall not seem tedious, I'll tell thee what befell me on a day, in this self place where now we mean to stand.
Here comes a man. Let's stay till he be past.
Enter King Henry VI, disguised with a prayer book.
From Scotland am I stol'n, even of pure love, to greet mine own land with my wishful sight. No, Harry, Harry, 'tis no land of thine. Thy place is filled, thy sceptre wrung from thee, thy balm washed off wherewith thou wast anointed. No bending knee will call thee Caesar now, no humble suitors press to speak for right, no, not a man comes for redress of thee. For how can I help them and not myself?
Ay, here's a deer whose skin's a keeper's fee. This is the quondam king. Let's seize upon him.
Let me embrace thee, sour adversity, for wise men say it is the wisest course.
Why linger we? Let us lay hands upon him.
Forbear a while. We'll hear a little more.
My queen and son are gone to France for aid, and, as I hear, the great commanding Warwick is thither gone, to crave the French king's sister to wife for Edward. If this news be true, poor queen and son, your labour is but lost, for Warwick is a subtle orator, and Lewis a prince soon won with moving words. By this account then Margaret may win him, for she's a woman to be pitied much. Her sighs will make a battery in his breast, her tears will pierce into a marble heart. The tiger will be mild while she doth mourn, and Nero will be tainted with remorse, to hear and see her plaints, her brinish tears. Ay, but she's come to beg, Warwick to give. She on his left side, craving aid for Henry, he on his right, asking a wife for Edward. She weeps and says her Henry is deposed, he smiles and says his Edward is installed. That she, poor wretch, for grief can speak no more, whiles Warwick tells his title, smooths the wrong, inferreth arguments of mighty strength, and in conclusion wins the king from her, with promise of his sister, and what else, to strengthen and support King Edward's place. O Margaret, thus 'twill be, and thou, poor soul, art then forsaken, as thou went'st forlorn.
Say, what art thou, that talkest of kings and queens?
More than I seem, and less than I was born to, a man at least, for less I should not be. And men may talk of kings, and why not I?
Ay, but thou talkest as if thou wert a king.
Why, so I am in mind, and that's enough.
But if thou be a king, where is thy crown?
My crown is in my heart, not on my head, not decked with diamonds and Indian stones, nor to be seen. My crown is called content, a crown it is that seldom kings enjoy.
Well, if you be a king crowned with content, your crown content, and you must be contented to go along with us. For as we think, you are the king King Edward hath deposed, and we, his subjects, sworn in all allegiance, will apprehend you as his enemy.
But did you never swear and break an oath?
No, never such an oath, nor will not now.
Where did you dwell when I was king of England?
Here in this country, where we now remain.
I was anointed king at 9 months old. My father and my grandfather were kings, and you were sworn true subjects unto me. And tell me then, have you not broke your oaths?
No, for we were subjects, but while you were king.
Why, am I dead? Do I not breathe a man? Ah, simple men, you know not what you swear. Look, as I blow this feather from my face, and as the air blows it to me again, obeying with my wind when I do blow, and yielding to another when it blows, commanded always by the greater gust, such is the likeness of you common men. But do not break your oaths, for of that sin my mild entreaty shall not make you guilty. Go where you will. The king shall be commanded. And be you kings, command, and I'll obey.
We are true subjects to the king, King Edward.
So would you be again to Henry if he were seated as King Edward is?
We charge you, in God's name, and the king's, to go with us unto the offices.
In God's name lead. Your king's name be obeyed. And what God will, that let your king perform. And what he will, I humbly yield unto.
Exeunt. Scene 2. London, the Palace. Enter King Edward IV, Gloucester, Clarence, and Lady Grey.
Brother of Gloucester, at St. Albans field, this lady's husband, Sir Richard Grey, was slain. His lands then seized on by the Conqueror. Her suit is now to repossess those lands, which we in justice cannot well deny, because in quarrel of the house of York, the worthy gentleman did lose his life.
Your Highness shall do well to grant her suit. It were dishonour to deny it her.
It were no less, but yet I'll make a pause.
Aside to Clarence.
Yea, is it so? I see the lady hath a thing to grant, before the king will grant her humble suit.
Aside to Gloucester.
He knows the game. How true he keeps the wind.
Aside to Clarence.
Silence!
Widow, we will consider of your suit, and come some other time to know our mind.
Right gracious lord, I cannot brook delay. May it please your highness to resolve me now, and what your pleasure is shall satisfy me.
Aside to Clarence.
Ay, widow? Then I'll warrant you all your lands, and if what pleases him shall pleasure you, fight closer, or good faith you'll catch a blow.
Aside to Gloucester.
I fear her not, unless she chance to fall.
Aside to Clarence.
God forbid that, for he'll take vantages.
How many children hast thou, widow? Tell me.
Aside to Gloucester.
I think he means to beg a child of her.
Aside to Clarence.
Nay, whip me then, he'll rather give her 2.
3, my most gracious lord.
Aside to Clarence.
You shall have 4 if you'll be ruled by him.
'Twere pity they should lose their father's lands.
Be pitiful, dread lord, and grant it then.
Lords, give us leave. I'll try this widow's wit.
Aside to Clarence.
Ay, good leave have you, for you will have leave, till youth take leave, and leave you to the crutch.
Gloucester and Clarence retire.
Now tell me, madam, do you love your children?
I, full as dearly as I love myself.
And would you not do much to do them good?
To do them good I would sustain some harm.
Then get your husband's lands, to do them good.
Therefore I came unto your majesty.
I'll tell you how these lands are to be got.
So shall you bind me to your highness' service.
What service wilt thou do me, if I give them?
What you command that rests in me to do.
But you will take exceptions to my boon.
No, gracious lord, except I cannot do it.
Ay, but thou canst do what I mean to ask.
Why, then I will do what your grace commands.
Aside to Clarence.
He plies her hard, and much rain wears the marble.
Aside to Gloucester.
As red as fire. Nay then, her wax must melt.
Why stops my lord? Shall I not hear my task?
An easy task. 'Tis but to love a king.
That's soon performed, because I am a subject.
Why then thy husband's lands I freely give thee.
I take my leave with many thousand thanks.
Aside to Clarence.
The match is made, she seals it with a curtsy.
But stay thee, 'tis the fruits of love I mean.
The fruits of love I mean, my loving liege.
Ay, but I fear me in another sense. What love think'st thou I sue so much to get?
My love till death, my humble thanks, my prayers. that love which virtue begs and virtue grants.
No, by my troth, I did not mean such love.
Why then you mean not as I thought you did.
But now you partly may perceive my mind.
My mind will never grant what I perceive your highness aims at, if I aim aright.
To tell thee plain, I aim to lie with thee.
To tell you plain, I had rather lie in prison.
Why, then thou shalt not have thy husband's lands.
Why then mine honesty shall be my dower, for by that loss I will not purchase them.
Therein thou wrong'st thy children mightily.
Herein your highness wrongs both them and me. But, mighty lord, this merry inclination accords not with the sadness of my suit. Please you, dismiss me, either with aye or no.
Aye, if thou wilt say aye to my request. No, if thou dost say no to my demand.
Then, no, my lord. My suit is at an end.
Aside to Clarence.
The widow likes him not. She knits her brows.
Aside to Gloucester.
He is the bluntest wooer in Christendom.
Aside.
Her looks do argue her replete with modesty. Her words do show her wit incomparable. All her perfections challenge sovereignty. One way or other she is for a king, and she shall be my love, or else my queen. Say that King Edward take thee for his queen.
'Tis better said than done, my gracious lord. I am a subject fit to jest withal, but far unfit to be a sovereign.
Sweet widow, by my state I swear to thee, I speak no more than what my soul intends, and that is to enjoy thee for my love.
And that is more than I will yield unto. I know I am too mean to be your queen, and yet too good to be your concubine.
You cavil widow, I did mean my queen.
'Twill grieve your grace my sons should call you father.
No more than when my daughters call thee mother. Thou art a widow, and thou hast some children. And by God's mother, I, being but a bachelor, have other some. Why, 'tis a happy thing to be the father unto many sons. Answer no more, for thou shalt be my queen.
Aside to Clarence.
The ghostly father now hath done his shrift.
Aside to Gloucester.
When he was made a shriver, 'twas for shift.
Brothers, you muse what chat we two have had.
The widow likes it not, for she looks very sad.
You'll think it strange if I should marry her.
To whom, my lord?
Why, Clarence, to myself.
That would be 10 days' wonder at the least.
That's a day longer than a wonder lasts.
By so much is the wonder in extremes.
Well, jest on, brothers. I can tell you both, her suit is granted for her husband's lands.
Enter a nobleman.
My gracious lord, Henry, your foe, is taken, and brought your prisoner to your palace gate.
See that he be conveyed unto the Tower. And we go, brothers, to the man that took him, to question of his apprehension. Widow, go you along. Lords, use her honourably.
Exeunt all but Gloucester.
Ay, Edward will use women honourably. Would he were wasted marrow, bones, and all, that from his loins no hopeful branch may spring, to cross me from the golden time I look for. And yet, between my soul's desire and me, the lustful Edward's title buried is Clarence, Henry, and his son young Edward, and all the unlooked for issue of their bodies, to take their rooms ere I can place myself, a cold premeditation for my purpose. Why then I do but dream on sovereignty, like one that stands upon a promontory, and spies a far off shore where he would tread, wishing his foot were equal with his eye, and chides the sea that sunders him from thence, saying he laid it dry to have his way. So do I wish the crown, being so far off, and so I chide the means that keeps me from it, and so I say, I'll cut the causes off, flattering me with impossibilities. My eye's too quick, my heart o'erweens too much, unless my hand and strength could equal them. Well, say there is no kingdom then for Richard. What other pleasure can the world afford? I'll make my heaven in a lady's lap, and deck my body in gay ornaments, and witch sweet ladies with my words and looks. Oh, miserable thought, and more unlikely than to accomplish 20 golden crowns! Why, love forswore me in my mother's womb, and for I should not deal in her soft laws, she did corrupt frail nature with some bribe, to shrink mine arm up like a withered shrub, to make an envious mountain on my back, where sits deformity to mock my body, to shape my legs of an unequal size, to disproportion me in every part, like to a chaos or an unlicked bear whelp, that carries no impression like the dam. And am I then a man to be beloved? O monstrous fault, to harbour such a thought! Then, since this earth affords no joy to me, but to command, to check, to overbear such as are of better person than myself, I'll make my heaven to dream upon the crown, and whiles I live to account this world but hell, until my misshaped trunk that bears this head be round impaled with a glorious crown. And yet I know not how to get the crown, for many lives stand between me and home, and I, like one lost in a thorny wood, that rends the thorns and is rent with the thorns, seeking a way and straying from the way, not knowing how to find the open air, but toiling desperately to find it out, torment myself to catch the English crown. And from that torment I will free myself, or hew my way out with a bloody axe. Why, I can smile and murder whilst I smile, and cry content to that which grieves my heart, and wet my cheeks with artificial tears, and frame my face to all occasions. I'll drown more sailors than the mermaid shall. I'll slay more gazers than the basilisk. I'll play the orator as well as Nestor, deceive more slyly than Ulysses could, and like a Sinon take another Troy. I can add colours to the chameleon, change shapes with Proteus for advantages, and set the murderous Machiavel to school. Can I do this, and cannot get a crown? Tut, were it farther off, I'll pluck it down.
Exit. Scene 3. France. King Louis XI's palace. Flourish. Enter King Louis XI, his sister Bona, his admiral called Bourbon, Prince Edward, Queen Margaret, and Oxford. King Louis XI sits, and riseth up again.
Fair Queen of England, worthy Margaret, sit down with us. It ill befits thy state and birth, that thou shouldst stand while Louis doth sit.
No, mighty King of France, now Margaret must strike her sail, and learn a while to serve where kings command. I was, I must confess, great Albion's queen in former golden days, but now mischance hath trod my title down, and with dishonour laid me on the ground, where I must take like seat unto my fortune, and to my humble seat conform myself.
Why, say, fair Queen, whence springs this deep despair?
From such a cause as fills mine eyes with tears, and stops my tongue, while heart is drowned in cares.
Whate'er it be thou still like thyself, and sit thee by our side.
Seats her by him.
Yield not thy neck to fortune's yoke, but let thy dauntless mind still ride in triumph over all mischance. Be plain, Queen Margaret, and tell thy grief. It shall be eased, if France can yield relief.
Those gracious words revive my drooping thoughts,
and give my tongue-tied sorrows leave to speak. Now therefore be it known to noble Lewis, that Henry, sole possessor of my love, is of a king become a banished man, and forced to live in Scotland a forlorn, while proud ambitious Edward, Duke of York, usurps the regal title and the seat of England's true anointed lawful king. This is the cause that I, poor Margaret, with this my son, Prince Edward, Henry's heir, am come to crave thy just and lawful aid. And if thou fail us, all our hope is done. Scotland hath will to help, but cannot help. Our people and our peers are both misled, our treasures seized, our soldiers put to flight, and, as thou seest, ourselves in heavy plight.
Renowned Queen, with patience calm the storm, while we bethink a means to break it off.
The more we stay, the stronger grows our foe.
The more I stay, the more I'll succour thee.
Oh, but impatience waiteth on true sorrow, and see where comes the breeder of my sorrow.
Enter Warwick.
What's he approacheth boldly to our presence?
Our Earl of Warwick, Edward's greatest friend.
Welcome, brave Warwick. What brings thee to France?
He descends, she ariseth.
Ay, now begins a second storm to rise, for this is he that moves both wind and tide.
From worthy Edward, King of Albion, my lord and sovereign, and thou vowed friend, I come, in kindness and unfeigned love, first to do greetings to thy royal person, and then to crave a league of amity, and lastly to confirm that amity with a nuptial knot, if thou vouchsafe to grant that virtuous Lady Bona, thy fair sister, to England's king in lawful marriage.
Aside.
Oh, if that go forward, Henry's hope is done.
To Bona.
And, gracious madam, in our king's behalf, I am commanded, with your leave and favour, humbly to kiss your hand, and with my tongue to tell the passion of my sovereign's heart, where fame, late entering at his heedful ears, hath placed thy beauty's image and thy virtue.
King Lewis, and Lady Bona, hear me speak before you answer Warwick. His demand springs not from Edward's well-meant honest love, but from deceit bred by necessity. For how can tyrants safely govern home, unless abroad they purchase great alliance? To prove him tyrant, this reason may suffice, that Henry liveth still. But were he dead, yet here Prince Edward stands, King Henry's son. Look therefore, Lewis, that by this league and marriage thou draw not on thy danger and dishonour. For though usurpers sway the rule awhile, yet heavens are just, and time suppresseth wrongs.
Injurious Margaret!
And why not, Queen?
Because thy father Henry did usurp, and thou no more art prince than she is queen.
Then Warwick disannuls great John of Gaunt, which did subdue the greatest part of Spain, and after John of Gaunt, Henry the Fourth, whose wisdom was a mirror to the wisest, and after that wise Prince Henry the Fifth, who by his prowess conquered all France. From these our Henry lineally descends.
Oxford, how haps it, in this smooth discourse, you told not how Henry the Sixth hath lost all that which Henry Fifth had gotten. Methinks these peers of France should smile at that. But for the rest, you tell a pedigree of 62 years, a silly time to make prescription for a kingdom's worth.
Why, Warwick, canst thou speak'st against thy liege, whom thou obeyedst 36 years, and not betray thy treason with a blush?
Can Oxford, that ever did fence the right, now buckle falsehood with a pedigree? For shame! Leave Henry, and call Edward king.
Call him my king, by whose injurious doom my elder brother, the Lord Aubrey Vere, was done to death? And more than so, my father, even in the downfall of his mellowed years, when nature brought him to the door of death? No, Warwick, no, whilst life upholds this arm upholds the house of Lancaster.
and I the house of York.
Queen Margaret, Prince Edward, and Oxford, vouchsafe at our request to stand aside, while I use further conference with Warwick.
They stand aloof.
Heavens grant that Warwick's words bewitch him not.
Now, Warwick, tell me, even upon thy conscience, is Edward your true king? For I were loath to link with him that were not lawful chosen.
Thereon I pawn my credit and mine honour.
But is he gracious in the people's eye?
The more that Henry was unfortunate.
Then further, all dissembling set aside, tell me for truth the measure of his love unto our sister Bona.
Such it seems as may beseem a monarch like himself. Myself have often heard him say and swear that this his love was an eternal plant, whereof the root was fixed in virtue's ground, the leaves and fruit maintained with beauty's sun, exempt from envy, but not from disdain, unless the Lady Bona quit his pain.
Now, sister, let us hear your firm resolve.
Your grant or your denial shall be mine.
To Warwick.
Yet I confess that often ere this day, when I have heard your king's desert recounted, mine ear hath tempted judgment to desire.
Then, Warwick, thus our sister shall be Edward's. And now forthwith shall articles be drawn touching the jointure that your king must make, which with her dowry shall be counterpoised. Draw near, Queen Margaret, and be a witness that Bona shall be wife to the English king.
To Edward, but not to the English king.
Deceitful Warwick, it was thy device by this alliance to make void my suit. Before thy coming, Lewis was Henry's friend.
And still is friend to him and Margaret. But if your title to the crown be weak, as may appear by Edward's good success, then 'tis but reason that I be released from giving aid, which late I promised. Yet shall you have all kindness at my hand, that your estate requires, and mine can yield.
Henry now lives in Scotland at his ease, where having nothing, nothing can he lose. And as for you yourself, our quondam queen, you have a father able to maintain you, and better 'twere you troubled him than France.
Peace, impudent and shameless Warwick, peace, proud setter up and puller down of kings. I will not hence, till with my talk and tears, both full of truth, I make King Lewis behold thy sly conveyance, and thy lord's false love. For both of you are birds of self-same feather.
Post blows a horn within.
Warwick, this is some post to us or thee.
Enter a post.
My lord, ambassador, these letters are for you, sent from your brother Marcus Montague.
To King Louis the 11th.
These from our king unto your majesty.
To Queen Margaret.
And madam, these for you, from whom I know not.
They all read their letters.
I like it well that our fair queen and mistress smiles at her news, while Warwick frowns at his.
Nay, mark how Lewis stamps, as he were nettled. I hope all's for the best.
Warwick, what are thy news? And yours, fair queen?
Mine such as fill my heart with unhoped joys.
Mine full of sorrow and heart's discontent.
What? Has your king married the Lady Grey? And now, to soothe your forgery and his, sends me a paper to persuade me patience. Is this the alliance that he seeks with France? Dare he presume to scorn us in this manner?
I told your majesty as much before. This proveth Edward's love and Warwick's honesty.
King Lewis, I here protest in sight of heaven, and by the hope I have of heavenly bliss, that I am clear from this misdeed of Edward's. No more my king, for he dishonours me, but most himself, if he could see his shame. Did I forget that, by the house of York, my father came untimely to his death? Did I let pass the abuse done to my niece? Did I impale him with the regal crown? Did I put Henry from his native right? And am I guerdoned at the last with shame? Shame on himself, for my desert is honour, and to repair my honour lost for him, I here renounce him and return to Henry. My noble queen, let former grudges pass, and henceforth I am thy true servitor. I will revenge his wrong to Lady Bona, and replant Henry in his former state.
Warwick, these words have turned my hate to love, and I forgive and quite forget old faults, and joy that thou becomest King Henry's friend.
So much his friend, I his unfeigned friend, that if King Lewis vouchsafe to furnish us with some few bands of chosen soldiers, I'll undertake to land them on our coast, and force the tyrant from his seat by war. 'Tis not his new-made bride shall succour him. And as for Clarence, as my letters tell me, he's very likely now to fall from him, for matching more for wanton lust than honour, or than for strength and safety of our country.
Dear brother, how shall Bona be revenged but by thy help to this distressed queen?
Renowned prince, how shall poor Henry live, unless thou rescue him from foul despair?
My quarrel and this English queen's are one.
And mine, fair Lady Bona, joins with yours.
And mine with hers, and thine, and Margaret's. Therefore at last I firmly am resolved you shall have aid.
Oh, let me give humble thanks for all at once.
Then England's messenger return in post, and tell false Edward, thy supposed king, that Lewis of France is sending over maskers to revel it with him and his new bride. Thou seest what's past. Go fear thy king withal.
Tell him, in hope he'll prove a widower shortly, I'll wear the willow garland for his sake.
Tell him my mourning weeds are laid aside, and I am ready to put armour on.
Tell him from me that he hath done me wrong, and therefore I'll uncrown him ere it be long. There's thy reward. Be gone.
Exit post.
But Warwick, thou and Oxford with 5,000 men shall cross the seas, and bid false Edward battle. And as occasion serves, this noble queen and prince shall follow with a fresh supply. Yet ere thou go, but answer me one doubt. What pledge have we of thy firm loyalty?
This shall assure my constant loyalty, that if our queen and this young prince agree, I'll join mine eldest daughter and my joy to him forthwith in holy wedlock bands.
Yes, I agree, and thank you for your motion. Son Edward, she is fair and virtuous, therefore delay not, give thy hand to Warwick, and with thy hand thy faith irrevocable that only Warwick's daughter shall be thine.
Yes, I accept her, for she well deserves it, and here, to pledge my vow, I give my hand.
He gives his hand to Warwick.
Why stay we now? These soldiers shall be levied, and thou, Lord Bourbon, our high admiral, shalt waft them over with our royal fleet. I long till Edward fall by war's mischance, for mocking marriage with a dame of France.
Exeunt all but Warwick.
I came from England as ambassador, but I return his sworn and mortal foe. Matter of marriage was the charge he gave me, but dreadful war shall answer his demand. Had he none else to make a stale but me? Then none but I shall turn his jest to sorrow. I was the chief that raised him to the crown, and I'll be chief to bring him down again. Not that I pity Henry's misery, but seek revenge on Edward's mockery.
Exit. End of Act 3.